Welcome back to Super Sports, and today I will be making my NFL Super Wildcard Weekend game predictions, following my 11-5 picks from last week. Remember to like and subscribe for more sports content. Without further ado, let's get into it. The Seattle Seahawks have reached the playoffs and have to face a division rival who they have lost to twice. The San Francisco 49ers have held Seattle's offense to 20 points combined in those two games and is riding a 10-game win streak. The 49ers most recently beat the Seahawks in Week 15, 21-13, with a good performance by the San Francisco defense. The 49ers held running back Kenneth Walker to 3.9 yards per carry and quarterback Geno Smith to 5.4 per pass attempt. NFL sack leader Nick Bosa was also an issue for Seattle's offense, with Bosa pressuring Geno Smith almost every play, and he has one or more sacks in 13 of his 16 games. Since the loss to the 49ers, the Seattle Seahawks have scored under 20 points in 3 of their last 4 games, and have sputtered their way to the NFC's 7th seed. However, Kenneth Walker has been playing very well since the 49ers game, and has 3 back-to-back 100-plus rushing yard games. San Francisco is a tough team to run on, though, as they are first in the NFL in yards per carry allowed. If Seattle manages to run on the Niners, they still must stop an offense that has scored 37 points in 3 straight. Quarterback Brock Purdy has a 5-0 record since taking over, and has a 100-plus rating in 4 of his 5 last games. Christian McCaffrey was a big factor in the Week 15 win for San Francisco, with 108 yards on the ground and 30 through the air. Seattle's defense has held wide receivers to a 78.3 rating, but has allowed a 106.5 rating to tight ends, meaning George Kittle should have a great game. I think San Francisco will win comfortably 31-17. The number 4 Jaguars host the number 5 Chargers in an AFC wildcard matchup on Saturday. The Chargers face a Jacksonville Jaguars team that barely made the playoffs, but are on a 5-game winning streak. Both teams have a young quarterback who is starting their first playoff game, with Trevor Lawrence for the Jaguars and Justin Herbert for the Chargers. Justin Herbert and the Chargers would like to utilize Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Joshua Palmer this week. Will be facing a Jags defense that has allowed a 90 rating to wide receivers this season. The Jaguars' weak point in pass defense is tight ends, allowing a 119.3 rating on the year. Justin Herbert can take advantage of this weakness with Gerald Everett, who has 550-plus yards. The Jaguars' offense also has weapons, like Christian Kirk with over 1,100 yards and Zay Jones with over 800 yards. The Chargers' defense has allowed an 88.4 rating to wide receivers, similar to the Jags' defense, but Los Angeles has also held tight ends to a sub-90 rating. Travis Etienne will be a major factor for the Jaguars' offense, as he had rushed for 5.1 yards per carry on the year for over 1,000 yards. The Chargers' defense has not contained running backs well, allowing 5.6 yards per carry. Back in Week 3, the Jaguars blew the Chargers out 38-10, with Jacksonville's running backs rushing for over 150 yards. Trevor Lawrence also threw for over 260 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. I believe the Jaguars will rely on Travis Etienne enough to get a victory over the Chargers 27-24. The Miami Dolphins snuck into the playoffs and are on the road against the Buffalo Bills. Both teams have won one game against each other in the regular season, but quarterback Tua Tagovailoa was still playing. This week, Tua Tagovailoa has been ruled out due to a concussion, meaning Skylar Thompson will start. Thompson did win his last start without throwing an interception, but he only threw for 152 yards with no touchdowns. Wide receiver duo Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle had under 100 yards combined last week, but were facing New York's elite cornerbacks. Buffalo has not defended the position nearly as well as the Jets did, and the Bills have allowed a 91.2 rating to wide receivers this year. Jalen Waddle has had 100-plus yards in both games against Buffalo this season, and Tyreek Hill scored on the Bills in their last meeting. Buffalo's run defense is their weakness, giving up 4.4 yards per carry. It will likely be up to Jeff Wilson for Miami's run game, as he has 4.7 yards per carry on the year. The Dolphins will need to score more than 11 to beat the Bills' offense, as Josh Allen threw for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in Week 15. Stephon Diggs is the Bills' #1 receiver and has 1,400 yards this season. Miami's pass defense has also defended wide receivers well, holding them to an 86.6 rating. Gabe Davis will also be testing Miami's pass defense, and tight end Dawson Knox will very likely have a huge game, because Miami allows a 125-plus rating to tight ends this year. Josh Allen will also get yards on the ground for Buffalo, as Miami has allowed 6 yards per carry to quarterbacks this year. The Dolphins will not be able to beat Josh Allen with Skylar Thompson. The New York Giants are in Minnesota for a playoff rematch after a Week 16 defeat to Vikings 27-24. Kirk Cousins had a great game for Minnesota, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Justin Jefferson led the league in receiving yards in 2022 and had 133 yards against the Giants. TJ Hawkins had over 100 yards as well and 2 touchdowns. For the Giants, Daniel Jones threw for 334 yards and a touchdown in Week 16, and Saquon Barkley rushed for 84 yards. Both teams went opposite directions during Week 17, as the Vikings were embarrassed by the Packers while the Giants dominated the Colts. In order to win, the Giants' secondary will have to contain all of Kirk Cousins' weapons, but they may once again allow a big game from TJ Hawkinson, as New York has allowed a 115 rating to tight ends on the season. In order for the Vikings to prevent another embarrassing loss, Minnesota's defense will also need to improve, especially against running quarterback Daniel Jones, who rushed for 8.5 yards per carry against the Vikings. Kirk Cousins will also have to continue to perform well against the blitz, as the Giants blitzed 21 times, but Cousins threw for 2 touchdowns and a 122.1 rating. I think this game will be hard-fought and very close, but a game-winning field goal will make the score 24-23 for a Vikings win, as they have the home field advantage. The Cincinnati Bengals host the AFC North rival, the Baltimore Ravens, in a Week 18 rematch. The Bengals won that regular season finale 27-16, but Baltimore gave a good fight despite Baltimore's third-string quarterback Anthony Brown throwing 2 interceptions. The Bengals' pass offense has a 101 rating on the year, and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd are, in my opinion, the best wide receiver trio. The Bengals are one of the highest-scoring offenses in the league, putting up 26.1 points per game this season. The Ravens' defense they face is hot heading into the playoffs, as they have allowed 18.5 points per game and have held wide receivers to a sub-90 rating. Last week, the Ravens held Burrow to an 81 rating and held Cincinnati to 5 for 15 on 3rd down. The Ravens' offense gave up 4 turnovers last week, including 2 fumbles. Lamar Jackson should still be out, meaning their offense will struggle. Without Lamar Jackson, the Bengals are easily going to reach the divisional round with a 31-16 win. On Monday night, the Cowboys hit the road to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. These two teams met in Week 16, with Tampa Bay winning 19-3. Cowboys' Dak Prescott hurt his hand in this game, but has been back for a while. Dak had a 45.8 rating game last week versus a Washington secondary that was not very good this year. Dak Prescott has also been struggling with interceptions, going 7 straight games with an interception. Dallas's run offense also struggled last week, as they only rushed for 2.4 yards per carry on 27 attempts. The Buccaneers' defense they face allows a 92.7 rating on the season and only has 10 interceptions. However, Tampa's defense has held teams to 6.7 yards per attempt, which is tied for 6th best in the NFL. They will have to primarily focus on CeeDee Lamb, who has over 1,300 yards and Dalton Schultz, who has 577 yards. Tight end is the position that the Bucs have struggled with the most and have allowed a 110-plus rating to them. Tampa Bay's offense, led by Tom Brady, will have to face a pass rush that includes 4 players with over 6 sacks. Tom Brady has been good against the blitz, throwing for a 102.5 rating this year. When Tampa calls a pass play, it's likely going to be to Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, who both have over 1,000 yards. The Buccaneers are hoping they play like they did in Week 17, their last full game together, with Brady's 400-plus passing yards, Mike Evans' 200-plus receiving yards, and Godwin's 100-plus receiving yards. I don't see Dak Prescott suddenly performing very well, so I believe the Buccaneers will win 23-17. Thank you for watching to the end of my NFL Wildcard predictions. Like and subscribe for more sports content, and comment your picks and analysis down in the comments.